Liverpool always find a way. That seems to be the same story on repeat, week in, week out this season. Another comeback, another late winner, this time from Captain Fantastic Virgil van Dijk, who arrowed a header into the bottom corner against Atletico Madrid when Liverpool, after 6 minutes, had been cruising in their Champions League opener against Atletico Madrid at Anfield on Wednesday night. And there's been the same repeat story at various times in the Premier League in their first 4 fixtures as well. And what I want to know from Liverpool fans and football fans in general is, are they really mentality monsters? Is this what Arne Slot has installed into his side? Are the leaders digging them out of holes? Or are they just lucky and that luck will soon run out? Could Liverpool genuinely win the Premier League and maybe even the Champions League on last-minute winners throughout the season? It's an unbelievable story so far for the defending Premier League champions. Arne Slot will be delighted, I am sure. But part of me wonders whether or not he is worried that the luck of scoring in the final moments of game after game will eventually run out. Or, because I believe Liverpool have got further gears to go, and it seems to be that when they need to, they just up it for a moment, score and then drop back again. Or, as this new Liverpool team gets used to playing together, as Slot continues to imprint his style and his demand, will Liverpool just get better and better, stronger and stronger, and then won't require the last minute winners? Because it is like a soap drama. You do not need to watch the likes of EastEnders and Coronation Street anymore. You have got action, cup romance, thrillers, all in 90 minutes of football. And even if you're not a Liverpool fan, you've got to admit it's exciting to watch, because there is something about a team that doesn't know when they're beat. It's really, really impressive from Liverpool. Guys, do me a huge favour. If you haven't done so, can you please drop a like on this video? Can you make sure as well that you are subscribing to the Footy Social Club? We are targeting 30,000 subscribers by the end of this season. We are not too far away from hitting 13,000 as well. So, guys, if you can do me a huge favour, drop a like on this video if you haven't done so already. And make sure you get yourselves in the comments. We'd love to know from not just Liverpool fans, football fans in general, how they see it. We'll break down the Liverpool Atlético Madrid game. We'll talk about what Liverpool have got coming up in the next 10 games or so as well, because this is going to play its part in deciding really where Liverpool may finish come May. But yeah, look, Liverpool won it late. Van Dijk from a corner, as captain, he steps up. That's why he wears the armband. And Liverpool have got in that team, when I look at it, so many leaders. You talk about teams, you talk about squad depth. We've talked about Arsenal, how great their squad depth is. But what Arsenal don't have is the volume of leaders that Liverpool have. And you can name them. You've got the likes of Robertson, who played and scored today. You've got Van Dijk. You've got Alisson. I think Szoboszlai is, a quiet leader, but a leader on the pitch. You've got Mo Salah. Liverpool got 5 or 6 natural leaders in this side. And I think that when the chips are down, or when there's a moment of adversity, like when Madrid, pulled it level again with 10 minutes to go, those 5 or 6 players, if they're playing, take it upon themselves to pick the others up, lead by example, and one of them will come up with, ultimately as it stands at the moment, the winner, So it's massively impressive. And when we're talking, dare I say it, a manager with a new timepiece, Arne Slot time, or Slot time if you want to call it, replacing that of Fergie time over in the 90s, the late 90s and 2000s. Slot's team don't know when they are beaten. And that is testament, I believe, to a very, very good football side. It takes me back to the invincible era under Arsene Wenger. That Arsenal team never knew when they were beaten. Not only did they go undefeated in the Premier League, sure, they didn't do it in Europe and the Cups, but they never knew when they were beaten. They found ways to win games or at least pick up a point. And when you look back at what Liverpool have done throughout this season so far, you know, if we put the Atlético Madrid game to a side for just a moment, they were 2-0 up at home to Bournemouth on the opening game of the season, similar to Madrid, only to be pegged back to 2-2. Remember Semenyo scoring a double there. Chiesa came off the bench and scored a Gerrard-esque half volley into the far corner to put Liverpool 3-2 up, and Mo Salah obviously scored the fourth. He always scores on the opening week of the season. Those goals came in the 88th and 94th minute. Against Newcastle, a game we did as a watch-along, Liverpool were poor. They weren't in the game in any way, shape or form, and Ryan Gravenberch put them ahead before Hugo Ekitike made it 2-0 straight after the break, only for Newcastle to peg Liverpool back to 2-2. And then Rio Ingemona comes off the bench very, very late as a 16-year-old to win it 100 minutes on the clock. Liverpool win that one. In that game, in those two games alone, Liverpool have saved 4 points, turning, draws into wins. They don't know when they're beaten, even if they've been in winning positions and then being pegged back. Against Arsenal, look, it was fairly even in the first half. Liverpool grew into the game in the second half. And from the hour mark onwards, for me, there was only ever going to be one winner. But they didn't score from open play. It took a Szoboszlai piece of magic, a 35-yard screamer of a free kick into the top of the roof of the net that, look, two goalkeepers wouldn't have saved. Again, that goal in the 83rd minute for Liverpool. Again, turning a draw and a single point into all 3 points. Against Burnley, Liverpool had the better of the game. Was the penalty fortunate? I think it depends on which side of the fence that you sit on. But Mo Salah, when given the opportunity, under pressure in the 95th minute, smashed the ball into the back of the net. And Salah's missed penalties, in recent weeks and months. But 95 minutes, up steps another natural leader to win Liverpool the game. And, and going into the game against Atlético Madrid in the Premier League, Liverpool won 4 from 4. They could have drawn all 4 of those games. They could be on only 4 points, yet they are on 12. Why? Because Arne Slot has installed a mentality into this Liverpool team that doesn't know when it's beaten. I believe you make your own luck. Liverpool are making their own luck because even in those moments of adversity, they believe that they can still go on and win the game. I was sitting doing a watch along the Chelsea versus Bayern Munich game, and going backwards and forwards on the WhatsApp groups and stuff. And even then people were saying Liverpool will find a way to win. That's what the rivals are now saying. That's what the rivals will also start to believe. And that also is worth points on the board. They've scored 6 or 7 goals in the 80th minute onwards. It's phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal from Arne Slot. The mentality installation into this team and from those players to never give up. There is a strong possibility that Liverpool could win the Premier League, the Champions League and the Cups, given the quality of the signings that they made in the summer. Once this squad starts to adapt, and there's still stuff to do. Isak played against Atlético Madrid, and those calling him out after his performance are ridiculous. He's had absolutely no preseason. 60 minutes, he was largely ineffective. But mark my words, he is going to play a massive part in what Liverpool do this year. Florian Wirtz hasn't found his feet. Kerkez wasn't in the team today. We'll talk a little bit about the overall lineup and how that may look going into Everton later on. But they've picked up so many points. 8 points from a position of when they were holding only draws is unbelievable. They've done it again as well in the Champions League. 2-0 up, 2-2. And in the dying moments, they take 1 point and convert it into 3. They've conceded goals. That will worry Slot. That will worry Liverpool fans. 6 goals already conceded this season. And yes, you can point to the fact that Frimpong and Kerkez are new at wing-back. Konate's been better, but, started the season quite slowly, linked with a move to Real Madrid. I expect Andy Robertson to maybe come back into this team. I was surprised that he hasn't started the season. I thought it was brave by Arne Slot to play with two new wing-backs. The problem Liverpool have with both Frimpong and Kerkez is that they like to be playing forward at all times. And at times it leaves Liverpool a little exposed. Adding Robertson in, and maybe Connor Bradley, again, gives time to those new players to adapt. Playing Szoboszlai at right back as good as he has done is not the answer. And I expect in some of those bigger games now, especially the Merseyside derby, the likes of Man City coming up, the likes of Manchester United, Chelsea, I expect to see Robertson and Bradley in those positions. And then you maybe see Kerkez and Frimpong against the likes of Palace and Brentford and Villa. We'll talk about all of those in a moment as well. 12 goals Liverpool have scored in all competitions this season. They are frightening going forward. And as I said, they never know when they're beaten. It's a phenomenal power to have from Liverpool. Let's take a look at the next 10 games for Liverpool because, defensively, as I mentioned, they've been poor. And there are moments here where they are going to be tested. Southampton away in the EFL Cup. It gives Arne Slot the absolute, perfect antidote to rest players, try a few new things out. They'll comfortably beat a Southampton side that, want to get themselves back into the Premier League, under Will Still for next season. Then they face a tough trip away against Oliver Glasner's Crystal Palace at Selhurst Park. Remember, a ground that's cost Liverpool the title in the past. That will not be easy. Palace are no mugs at home. Then after that, they face Galatasaray away. There's energy zapping games here. Games where they've got to be better defensively. Galatasaray will be physical, will be tough. It's a crowd that is on your backs. They return from that to face Chelsea away. A team that people have tipped for the Premier League title. Now, I don't believe that will happen. Chelsea lack quality centre-halves. I believe they can still be overrun in midfield. Their goalkeeper's still a question mark as well. But away from home at Stamford Bridge, that is another difficult game. At home to Manchester United follows. As you can see, there's tough moments coming for Liverpool. Home to Manchester United. Look, I think they'll beat United. United are a poor outfit. I believe that this will be Ruben Amorim's final game in charge of Manchester United. Following that, away trips against Frankfurt in the Champions League. Aston Villa at home. Yes, not having a good season, but 6-7 games time, it might be a very different Aston Villa. And then games 9 and 10, Real Madrid at home. Remember the return of Trent Alexander-Arnold, followed up by Manchester City away. These are all games that are going to truly tell us where Liverpool are at. Now, some of those Liverpool fans will say there'll be a walk in the park. We'll find ways to win. Absolutely. But this is going to prove whether or not Liverpool are mentality monsters or whether they are just making their own luck at the moment. Going back to last night's game against Atlético Madrid, as I said, the stadium roof came off after 6 minutes when Liverpool were 2-0 up. Mo Salah scored himself a couple of goals, getting assists as well now. His free kick led to a deflection that Andy Robertson, with the grateful receiver of giving Liverpool the lead on 4 minutes. 2 minutes later, literally from the kickoff, Mo Salah jinks his way in and finds the back of the net. And at that point there, I'm thinking Liverpool are going to go and win this 4 or 5-0. Atlético Madrid haven't been that good this season. Up steps Llorente, in added on time in the first half to bring Madrid back into the game, largely against the run of play. They did have 10 shots in the game, 4 on target against, the double that of Liverpool's 20 shots. Llorente has a habit of scoring against Liverpool. He knocked Jurgen Klopp's team out of the Champions League playing for Atlético Madrid. And when Llorente scored again and the Atlético Madrid bench, silenced the Anfield crowd, and to be honest, it shouldn't have been a goal. Llorente, Griezmann was in front of Becker. How that wasn't given as offside of interfering with the goalkeeper, I'll never know. But the adversity struck and Llorente drew Atletico Madrid level. And I thought that would be it, 2-2. You know, many Liverpool fans, ones that follow the Footy Social Club, called that Liverpool would probably draw this game. But the leader, the man, Virgil van Dijk, reminding everybody just how dangerous he is in the opposition penalty box with an arrow of a header into the bottom corner to make sure that Liverpool once again find a way to win. I'm excited to see this Liverpool team and see what it throws up over the next 10 games or so. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. Are they mentality monsters? Arne Slot plays a huge part in this, or are Liverpool just lucky? Let me know your thoughts. Drop a like on this video, please, if you haven't done so already. Remember, we are targeting 30,000 subscribers by the end of this season, and every subscriber helps. Make sure you're doing that. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and I will see you on the next one.